Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. And obviously, this is directed at you, Jaden, your digital daddy on day 53 in Dubai. And I always say to you, Sunshine, that this is the greatest part of my 24 hours where I get to share what I've learned over the last 24 hours. And also, that's evolved into who's impacted me in my life. And I couldn't there's no one person on earth that's impacted me the way this gentleman up here, Mr. John Martini, has impacted me from the first ever speed reading course, where he took me from 45 minutes to 45 words a minute to 450 words a minute in 2.5 hours. And I was like, who the hell are you, man? And he said, if you'd like to spend 24 hours with me, I have a program called the Breakthrough Experience. You can spend 24 hours with me. And that 24 hours for me was absolutely life-changing 20 years ago. And as we speak, it's 5:55 on April the 2nd. I called it, instead of April Fool's Day, I called it April Rules Day because it's all made up anyway. And the rules I made up is I'm here to impact the world in an astronomical way, and there is no human on earth that could ever change me or ever stop me from doing it. So, John, love and gratitude. Thank you for your impact on my life, and in return, the impact on the rest of the world.
Thank you. And I'll say hi to Jaden first. Hi,
Yep.
Jaden. Um, I've had the opportunity to know your dad for 2 decades at least, and I know already how much you mean to him. And it's very inspiring to be able to spend a few moments in dialogue in relationship to the thoughts of you in his heart. So it's just great to be able to be here and to be with Dizzy again because we don't get to see each other all the time, but the presence keeps connections regardless of where time and space is and where we
Yeah.
are in time and space. So, Jaden, you have your own awakened genius inside that's emerging, and I am absolutely certain that if you follow your own wisdom, that tier of inspiration that will guide your life, uh, it'll be inevitable and impossible for you not to do something amazing and inspiring in the world. It's kind of like your destiny. So just know that you have already everything. Nothing's ever missing in you. Sometimes we think things are missing in you
Mm.
or in ourselves when we compare ourselves to others instead of comparing our daily actions to what's truly most meaningful to us. Nobody's worth putting on pedestals or pits, but everybody's worth putting in the heart. And if you follow the heart in the direction of your destiny, you'll do something extraordinary. That's what's inspiring to know. Someday I'll get to meet you and I'll get to hear about that journey and how you've made the difference that you've made. But I know that when you're surrounded by people who love you, that definitely assists. And I know that Dizzy definitely loves you. So that's a thing that you want to appreciate in your life because that's someday you may have a child of your own and a son of your own, and you'll get to have that, what that's like. It's impossible to tell a father that he doesn't love his son. It's impossible, really deep inside, for a son not to love the father. It's way deep inside sometimes. Sometimes we get things in the way of sharing it.
Yeah.
But when it all boils down to the very essence of our being, it's really about loving. And that's really what we sometimes lose sight of, but that's the priority in life. And everything we do is ultimately for that objective. So anyway, it's just fantastic to be able to be here and spend a few moments with you. Even though I don't get to see you to arrive live, I'm sharing indirectly, and I've received guidance from your dad on your already magnificence at 10 years old and the journey that you've been on. So thank you for that. And I've spoken for a moment, but I have a feeling your father's now going to say something.
Well, look, John, normally the guests that I have on, I acknowledge them and then they receive that and then they give a message to Jaden. However, you are not your average cat. You're not your average guest. You're someone who's researched, writes, and travels the world literally. And look, you've been a cornerstone of my book, the cornerstone of my philosophy, and I echo the equilibrium that you promote in your breakthrough experience. And it's part of my day every day. And when you go through this personal development journey, and before I met you, there was that positive, 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 positive vibe. And I remember that day in Rosebank when I did the breakthrough, and I got up and I was the first person to break through because I saw my entire life and how it was completely perfect. And that was a moment that changed, right? So for me, through many breakthroughs, I learned that it never ends. The revolution that when you get to that stage and you collapsed what you thought was a problem was actually perfect, you get to that point where you feel you're proud, and then you have to create another revolution, and then you get there, and then you create another revolution, and that never ends. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever we know, that's always finite compared to what we don't know.
Yeah.
And what we don't know is infinite. So as Socrates says, he's the least knowledgeable, even though they thought he was the most knowledgeable, because
Mm,
he was aware of what he didn't know compared to what he knew.
yeah.
So that's the journey. And when we don't know something, we have incomplete information or missing information. And the quality of our life is based on the quality of the questions we ask. And the questions we ask make us aware of the information we're missing. So our journey is basically pursuing great questions to awaken to the information that's there that we're unaware of, to then see the hidden order in the apparent chaos, and to bring vitality and life to our existence, instead of sitting there and having entropy breaking us down. So wisdom is knowing how to ask the right question to be able to see beyond the boundaries, the computational boundaries that we're presently in, and get to explore the mysteries and penetrate some of the mysteries each day.
Okay, so something interesting that I discovered when I first met you was you had a, a plethora of courses, right? Imperience One going all the way to I can't even remember the number. And it blew my mind that when you said you had 365 days worth of courses that you could do and all of that time. So 20 years later, has that extended? How far is it? How far have you gone? Because in that,
Yeah, we're at I think appearance 14, so it just keeps growing every year, and putting on new courses all the time. So I just I tend to want to share what's I learn. Is That's the way it is. I'm
I,
sure you
I,
do the same. Just
are you still learning?
I'm learning every single day. I read and write every single day. I don't miss a day.
Amazing. I mean, look, the reason I asked that is because recently one of my mentors, I heard that he said that he knows everything, and I think that's when he came off the pedestal. When I heard that he said that he knows everything and that he's done every course and there's nothing you can teach him, I think that's when he dropped off the pedestal and came back down to earth.
Well, I think Albert Einstein said, and he was a pretty sharp guy, uh, have holy curiosity, live with holy curiosity.
Yeah.
And when I see somebody that thinks they know all things, um, I'm a bit leery myself because I don't think that's reasonable. I only know a small, tiny fraction of what I know in the area that I'm focused on, but I don't know anything about cooking hardly, and I don't know anything about driving a car because I haven't driven a car in 35 plus years. I don't know anything about sports because I don't keep up with sports. So I only know what I know, and it's only in the area that I'm focused on. And outside that, I'm kind of an ignoramus. I have my genius. I think we all have our genius in our area of focus, and then we have our ignoramus in the area of our scatter, and it's not high in our values. So, in anytime somebody thinks they're all knowing, then I tend to be skeptical myself because that's even AI can't do that, and that's putting everybody's brain together.
Yeah. Well, an interesting question I want to ask you because it's not often you get a live and direct conversation with the man himself, Mr. John Martini. We are currently in the world is in a state, right? There is major conflict and resolution, and people have been saying to me, Dizzy, why don't you come back from Dubai because it's in a real state. But I'm excited because I want to make a difference in the world, an astronomical difference in the world. And I think this is the right place for me to be in order for me to orchestrate something magnificent that can benefit the whole planet.
Well, as they say, in whenever there's turmoil, this too shall pass. Transient emotional gloom and dooms or boom and zooms are nothing but transient states. They fluctuate, and any one that you see, a boom and zoom or a gloom and doom, is only incomplete information. So this too shall pass, and the other side of the coin, which is already present but we don't see, is there. So inside the war, there's peace. Inside the peace, there's war. And so we're in a we're in a there's simply a struggle for resources and control, and there's all kind of things that go on, different ideologies. It's larger in-group, out-group biases that occur on bigger scales. That's all. But these two all pass. And whenever there's a down market, there's opportunity to buy cheap, as they say. And when there's
Yeah.
an up market, there's also opportunity. You make money on the past when the market goes up. You make money on the future when it goes down. So it doesn't matter what the world around you does. What matters is the vision and inspiration and strategies and focus you have inside. As long as you focus on that, the outside perturbations don't distract the long-term vision.
Amazing. Amazing stuff. Look, John, I'm aware of time-wise. Look, I went to bed last night unusually early than normal. And then I woke up unusually early than normal. And when I saw your email and you said, look, I don't know about the time frames, I thought immediately, no, this is the perfect time. And I
Well, that was
really,
it, it was because it really was because uh, another couple hours I wouldn't have been available again.
yeah.
And so this was you hit it right on the nail.
So another thing I saw the other day was a post of you in something other than a suit. I've never seen you in anything other than a suit, and I think you were with Alana somewhere.
No, I'm with my partner is Donna Parker.
Okay.
She's here. She just walked in the door just now, and we've been together for about 16 months.
Okay.
And well, we've actually known each other almost 15 years, but we've been actually dating. She was married at the time, and I was seeing somebody else at the time. And then the universe, how it conspires to get things together.
Yeah.
And so she's now in my life, and we're traveling on the world and out here in Tahiti and Papeete and off to some other islands here in another day or two. So I'm just doing my podcast from here and my seminars from here and my writing from here and research and traveling the world like I love doing.
Yeah. Well, look, Man Meat keeps me up to date with your adventures as
Yeah.
the
So what you saw is a picture of us, most likely. We were probably on an island somewhere and with some pictures because I'm not the greatest. Uh, I don't post a lot of stuff in
yeah.
social media. I don't even know how to do that. I just research and write. But my partner is kind of like an expression of some of the things I'm not so great at. She's good at, and she's out there making sure that some of our experiences are put in the world and also stored. She keeps great pictures, so that's her talent.
Amazing. Look,
I'd probably be incognito without that.
well, any words for Jaden? Parting words. I mean, you've said a lot already, but if there's one thing that
Jaden,
Jaden needs to understand, what's that one thing?
well, Jaden, the magnificence of who you truly are is far greater than any fantasies you'll ever impose on yourself. And don't put people on pedestals or pits, put them in your heart. And don't live in the shadows of anyone, stand on their shoulders and be another giant. Realize that there's nothing missing in you. And anytime you see somebody that's doing something extraordinary, just ask, where do I do the same thing? And don't stop. There's a great quote in the New Testament in Romans 2:1 that states, whatever you judge in others, beware, for you do the same thing. Whether it's positive or negative judgments, it's true. So having reflective awareness and deeper inspection liberates us from a lot of emotional distractions that keep us from doing something extraordinary. So master the art of loving and reflecting and focusing and fill your day with the highest priority actions that are most meaningful to you. If you fill your day with high priority actions that inspire you, your day doesn't fill up with low priority distractions that don't. And you build incremental momentum to do something extraordinary, which is your destiny. So be yourself. Don't be second at being somebody else.
Amazing. John, love and gratitude, and thank you for your time. And the journey's been great, and I can only imagine it becoming even greater. And as we pursue our mission on Earth to transform. And look, I'm going to send you something else, which I found this morning, which is probably the most interesting thing that I've seen as far as how to transform the planet right now in its current state. And I think you might find it interesting because it all
Thank you.
revolves around the why, right? The why is the most important thing. The why will determine whether you actually get out of bed and do it. And I said this to two kids. They ran up to me in the shopping mall and they said, excuse me, can we talk to you? And I said, yeah, sure. I said, first of all, how many people have you stopped? And how many people said yes? And they said, we spoke to five people and you're the first person that said yes. And I said, well, there you've got you've got a ratio that you have to speak to five people to get one to speak to you. And I said, you could have asked anybody in this shopping mall. I said, but you want to find out about how to make your life amazing and how to do good business. And the first exercise I gave them was write down a vision of what it is you'd love to do and write down 100 reasons why you need to make that happen. Because the the reasons why will determine whether you actually get it done.
Exactly.
So this morning I got presented with a project called Why, and I'm going to share it with you because it's pretty phenomenal, and it fully aligns with everything we've been talking about here today. And I think that's the next stage of the world, the Why stage. So, John, I love and gratitude, appreciate your time, and thanks for coming on
Thank
at such
you.
notice. Magic.
Thank you.